Welcome to the Queens on Decks, where I interview female DJs from around the world. I am Michelle Miller, your host of the Royal Queens Rising podcast. We share our inspiring stories and secrets to our success. I'm your host, DJ RunDat. Today I have Jodi Harris from Vegas, from Sight and Sound. How are you?
I am good. Thanks, Michelle, for having me here. Hey, everybody. Viva Las Vegas.
Hey, Las Vegas sounds fun right now.
You know, it's always fun. It's Vegas. They can turn something bad into something good. So things are happening here. Things are moving and shaking. So slowly, but we're moving and shaking.
Yeah, that's great. So how did you get into the music industry and into DJing?
Well, let's see. I got into the music industry and DJing because I can't sing or dance. So there you go. Uh, I met my husband who was a DJ, and I didn't want to be the girlfriend that stayed at home on Saturday nights. And so I was fascinated. I worked in production. So my life prior to being a DJ and an MC was I worked in the world of television. I worked in TV production. I worked live with Regis and Kathy Lee at the time, with Michael Gelman, who is executive producer of Kelly and Ryan now. So that's how I kind of started. I worked for ABC for years, and I met my husband on a vacation. He was a DJ. I didn't want to be the girl, like I said. Oh, by the way, I lived in New York. He lived in LA, so it was a long distance thing going on. And a friend of mine had passed away. Somebody that I really liked a lot. He had passed away, and I realized at that time he was really young, in his 20s, and I realized that life is short. So when I went to LA and I met my husband, I said, you know what? I'm going to quit. I'm going to quit this job, this great job I have, and I'm going to go follow, I'm going to live in LA. And if worse comes to worse and it doesn't work out with me in the sky, at least I can work in television in LA. But it did work out, obviously. And like I said, I didn't want to be the girl that stayed home. So I would go with him on Saturday nights to his gigs. And literally all I did was sit in the car, like when he was loading in, to make sure nobody stole the DJ equipment. And then I would sit in a pretty party dress. Yeah, I wore a party dress and gloves. I had like cool gloves that went all the way to my elbow. It was really cool, black, because did I lose you? I lost her.
Oh, we're here.
Oh, we're here. I'm sorry. There we go. Sorry about that, folks.
Edit.
So I had a party dress. Yep, edit. So I had a party dress, and it was just that's what I did. And then little by little, I would just make recommendations on songs. If he was playing something, I'd be like, Moni Moni, Billy Idol would work really well. And he's like, yeah, okay. And then we were doing CDs back then. So I was actually handing him CDs. Like, he'd tell me what he wanted, and then I would hand it to him. And then we got so good that I was able to read his mind, and he would ask for something and I just gave it to him, and he'd be like, how did you know I wanted that? I'm like, I don't know. So that's I got my start being the girl, didn't want to stay home on Saturday nights, and then assisting my husband, who was a DJ MC, on his gigs, and then became known as like kind of a husband and wife kind of team. And that's the early days and of our existence.
I love it because I'm also a husband and wife DJ duo.
Oh, okay. Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, so there's definitely like pros and cons to it. Like, we take turns DJing as parents, but it's like a treat when we get to play together. And
nice. That, like, same thing with me and him now. Now he has nothing to do with the DJ. Well, I shouldn't say he does nothing. He actually puts systems together, and he maintains the gear, but he's not performing anymore. So I'm the one of many, because I own a multi-op company that still goes out and is very much in demand. I mean, I thought maybe as I was getting older, people wouldn't want me, but no, they want the CEO of fun. They want the CEO of fun at their event, which is great. So as long as I continue to enjoy what I do, I'm going to keep rocking it.
Yeah, I love that. So yeah, now you have your own thing, your own company, and you've been rocking it for quite a while now, right?
Yes, quite a few years, since here in Vegas since 94.
Wow.
So since 94 in Vegas, and then a few years in LA. So I started in San Pedro, California.
Uh-huh.
So I did events for a company called 24 Karat Sound and Video, and they kind of got me into the business because they were my husband's bosses. So my husband actually worked for a company, and they let me go to gigs. They let me help him. They weren't one of those people that said your girlfriend, like now if one of my DJs says to me, "Well, can I bring my girlfriend with me?" I'd be like, "No." Or I would ask like, "What is she doing at the party? Like, why do you need her to come?" You know? But yeah, if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't be here right now. If it wasn't for them.
Right, right. Yeah, I remember the early stage where um, my husband didn't feel like maybe I should come along for the wedding, the other
Mhm.
weddings where maybe I was more friends with the family. Like, yeah, that's okay. And I remember like the first times he let me play a little at a wedding and like those early times.
Oh
It took
my God, were you so nervous when you first had to play? I was a wreck. My hands were, I was so nervous. Like the first time my husband said, "Okay, now when I'm out on the floor and I say the word, love, I want you to press that." But I was so nervous that I wasn't going to press it at the right time, or it was too early or too late. Now, who cares? It's
yeah.
like, oops.
Yeah, well, like with there's so much pressure for certain events, especially weddings, and it's like we
Yes.
only have so much control over it, you know. So it's like always
Yes.
having backup gear and your maybe your phone plugged in on auxiliary just in case, or extra
Yes.
computer and all these things. But like when you're first starting, you don't know all that, and there is that like trial and error or like learning through experience is kind of my number one way of learning is through experience.
Yes,
So
absolutely. Mine too. Mine too. And I think if you make a connection with your client and it's cool. You know each other. You made this connection. You talked to them on the phone. You did a design session, whatever it is, or you met with them face to face, or they're excited because they got you to be their DJ at their event. They're a little bit more like forgiving, or a little bit more just do your thing. We don't care.
yeah.
They don't put you under a microscope.
Yeah, so much of business, I believe, is like relationship building, relationship equity, nurturing those relationships. You know, it's about having a connection. You know, connection equals currency.
Yes.
I feel like the
Yes.
more I'm authentic in my marketing and branding, that like I'm gonna attract clients that are more aligned to who I am and more down to
Absolutely.
earth. And I don't get bridezillas. I wish
No,
I
neither do
would.
I.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Neither do I. I mean, I get people, I mean, very rarely will I get a bridezilla. I think you're going to get like a bridezilla or the client from hell is when you probably are like, quote, the package DJ, where a country club calls you up and says, "Okay, I got a booking for you, Michelle. It's on, February 15th, and you're working with Monica and Steve." Maybe that because maybe Monica and Steve felt like they didn't get a chance to meet you and they're kind of getting stuck with you,
Yeah.
But then once you get a chance to talk to Monica and Steve as you lead up to your event, then Monica and Steve figure that you're a really cool person and you know what you're doing,
Yeah.
and that's what it is. But it is all about making connections with people. And sometimes, running a multi-op, you personally may not be the right fit, and somebody on your team might make a better fit. And I'm happy to, pass that off.
Yeah, that's something I'm learning right now as I am growing into adding team is, finding the perfect fit. But kind of the way I'm doing it right now is more logistically of like who lives closer to the venue because there's about an hour difference of where she lives and
Yeah.
where I live.
Yeah.
And like
Yeah.
it wouldn't make sense for her to drive an hour and a half to the coast and
Yeah.
drive
Yeah.
an hour north, So we're kind of doing,
unless unless that was a really good fit, unless it was
yeah,
a really, really, really good fit,
absolutely.
then you ask for a hotel.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
We're learning as we go. I'm just now because of all the
Yeah.
bookings getting pushed to next year, I'm getting these
Yeah.
dates where I'm already booked. So I'm bringing on team, I'm bringing on a third person as an assistant just in case something happens to us or if it's a gig that we feel we need some extra support.
Yeah, always have, Michelle. I've always run my business that way. Very rarely will I go out by myself. I always bring somebody with me, whether it's a setup guy, setup strike, or just trainee. Even somebody who's learning, who wants to be a DJ, they have to shadow me, and they could have years of experience. And I will still bring them on to shadow me so they can see what it is that I do, or the way. And again, I'm not asking for people to be clones of me, but you know they get a feel for our branding, the fun, the CEO of fun, the fun branding.
Yeah. Oh my God. I value fun so much. And I totally agree with what you say, like having that person with you. And that was my goal for 2020. I was set up for it and it just didn't happen. So 2021, we get to extend the goal and the date.
Absolutely.
And yeah, I love
Absolutely.
that. Yeah. And I mean,
Yep.
it is like really all about being fun. Anytime I'm feeling any nerves about anything, because, when you do new things, that's when you grow
Hmm.
and you get scared and
Yep.
excited. And that's normal. But I'm
Yep.
just like, just have fun. It's one of my mantras, just have fun.
That's awesome. Yeah. Last year, my mantra was believe.
Yes. Yeah.
That was last year. This year, I have nothing. This side says believe. This side says, I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll figure out what we're going to do on this side.
Yeah. Well, you
But
and
no, but it is about having fun. I mean, why would people, why would you hire a DJ if you don't want to have a good time? And I think now more than ever, as events are starting to pop up little by little and slowly as we climb the ladder, and people want to celebrate. I did a corporate event not too many months ago, back in November, where, people came up to me and said, wow, you're the best DJ we've ever seen. And I'm like, that's because you haven't danced in 8 months. Of course, I'm going to be the best DJ you've ever seen. But they wanted to have fun, right? They wanted to have a good time. And they got on the dance floor and they stayed in their circles, and it
mm,
was cool.
mhm,
So
yeah.
absolutely. And
Yeah.
if you don't have fun, then you're in the wrong business. If it's not about, you know, fun. I mean, yeah, I'm your DJ. Yeah, I'm Jody. Yeah, okay. Then go work in a funeral home. Seriously.
Oh
I
my
always said if the DJ thing doesn't work out for me, I will work in a funeral home. And then my mantra will be I put the fun in funeral.
oh my gosh. I love it. Oh wow. Yeah, I was having a conversation with a friend. So I started officiating weddings this year, and I was talking to a friend who also can do that. But he's like, I actually like doing funerals more, and I was like, that's really interesting. He's like, well, it's like weddings, it's just like, oh, fairy tale,
Yeah.
happily ever after. Like, how real is that? I don't know. It was a really interesting conversation. I hadn't even thought
Well,
about, like,
what, yeah, Michelle, because it's more of a celebration of life.
yeah.
So if you think about the funeral as a celebration of life, and I've done quite a few of them, believe it or not. And you know what? Going into 2021, not to be Debbie Downer, but people can't have the funerals if a loved one passed away in 2020, they really can't bring everybody together and celebrate that person's life. You might see this could be a marketing opportunity for somebody to capitalize on a celebration of life party. And the ones that I've done prior to COVID were all the person who passed away's favorite music. And it was fun and upbeat and people telling stories. So, I mean, there could be a new business model right there.
Yeah, no, I've definitely done a handful of memorials, whatever you want to call it, and they're
Yeah.
definitely where I live. It's a celebration of life, and they have been
Yeah.
beautiful. And it's interesting, like just being an emotional being, like you just don't know, like for me, I don't know, am I gonna cry, like at a
Yes.
certain time of the month, but like, how sensitive am I gonna be? But really, I truly feel like music just really sets the vibes for any type of event, and like, and especially in
Absolutely.
that type of event, like music, you really need that uplifting energy, even if it's just background. Yeah.
Yeah. And you know what? Sometimes you could even cry at a wedding. I mean, come on. You never cried at a wedding before? You never teared up a father-daughter dance? I mean, I know I have.
Yeah.
If they pick a song and I know the bride and groom and I know the father or the mom, I'll be like, "Oh my God, I'm going to cry at this one."
Yeah. Well,
Just because I know mom survived cancer, or this is dad's only daughter, or you see the dad crying, right? The dad is doing the father-daughter dance with his daughter and he starts crying, and you're like, oh God, okay, think of somebody in their underwear, think of something. Go to the Brady Bunch, underwear.
yeah, I wasn't sure when I officiated my first wedding if I would cry. I thought I might,
Oh,
but I didn't. So I was kind of like, that was good. It's good.
yeah, I don't know if I can handle the officiating of weddings. I thought about it, but I see how couples get. They're so nervous because I coordinate. So I also have a branch of my company where I am a wedding coordinator. So I will get brides down the aisle. Certain hotels here in Vegas have deals with me where the salespeople don't want to walk the brides down the aisle. They just want to sell. That's what they want. They just want to sell. So what they do is they bring me and my team in because we offer photography, videography, and we do music. And then I will get them down the aisle. And let me tell you something, they are wound so tight. I don't know if I could handle it as a minister, as an officiant, to calm them down, because, and I just see my officiants that I work with and they are so smooth, like
Mm.
smooth.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I can deal with them when they're stressed out about walking down the aisle, because I'll just get their asses in shape. I'm like, let's go, move, move. We don't have time for this, and they're cool.
Yeah.
But oh, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think that's the one thing that's been holding me back about becoming an officiant.
Yeah, I was kind of thrown into it, and now I'm
Good
like
for
running
you.
with it. It's like,
Good for you. Good for you. No, I think it's great. I
yeah.
think it's great.
Yeah. So you and I first met you, found you, discovered you, however we want to say it. We were both speaking on a virtual DJ conference with Disc Jockey News TV,
Yep.
and that was really cool. I really liked your talk. And so, what have you been doing this last year? With COVID, what has it been like for you?
Oh, well, I've been at the family home in France and drinking wine, and well, I've put my feet up and just, no, I'm only kidding.
Like,
I have not been at the family home in France. There is no family home in France.
not yet.
Not yet. No, I've been really working on systems. I've been working on, a good friend of mine said, create the business that you want, not the business that you had. So what I've done is I've been creating the business I want by systemizing a lot of stuff. I've been, updating DJ event planner. I've been making videos, how-to videos. I've produced a series of podcasts to help couples, when it comes to finding their DJ or finding their videographer. We created a brand new series called Spotlight, which will really be an extension of selling for us, because so many of our clients here in Vegas, they don't, we don't do a lot of local weddings. We do a lot of out of state and out of country. So by creating a spotlight show, spotlight on DJ, spotlight on photo booth, spotlight on wedding planning, I'm giving people an opportunity on YouTube to watch a 15-minute show so they can understand what it is that we do as DJs. And I bring in my entire DJ team. Well, I shouldn't say entire. I brought in the four most popular, most booked DJs in my company, and we did a show about DJ entertainment and what we do. So that's been really, really good. We've done a lot of that.
That's exciting.
So yeah, and I said, like, creating those videos, and that's been really, really good. And then, just personally, just reading. Oh, social media has been big. That's how we found each other. Created a program to help people with their social media, especially when it comes to hashtags and being found on social media, and staying away from what we call the black hole of hashtags. So that's been very, very good. So yeah, just
Yeah.
spending a lot of time, like I said, building the business I want, not the business I had.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, I've been doing a lot of that the systems too by adding team, more team. It's
Yep.
now it's time to the systems, procedures, policies, all of that.
Yep. Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's been great. I mean, people comment that they see us everywhere, that we've never slowed down, because we have to stay consistent. It's all about volume and visibility. So
Mm.
you need to be out there. People need to you need to be visible. And it's not bragging about yourself. It's not braggadocious. It's just being out there, because out of sight means out of mind. And I can't tell you how many venues have actually said that to me. Like, I have MGM right across the street. the MGM warehouse, the MGM event planners, because when you have an event at MGM, everything's internal, and they have a beautiful warehouse, and they have party planners and everything. And when I brought them over to my office, I'm across the street. When I bring them over to my office, they're like, well, we didn't know you were here. And I'm like, you've known me for years. And they're like, yeah, but out of sight, out of mind, which means like you got to consistently drop your message in there like all the time. Don't feel like, oh, I posted 3 times this week, or, you got to be consistent. You got to be visible. It's all about visibility.
Yep, that's the same thing I coach. It's like move past your fears of being seen, because the more visible you are, the more business you will get. And I preach that all day long.
Yeah, and who cares? If the haters are the ones that are going to say, "Oh, Michelle, not her again," or "Oh, Jodi effing Harris," or whatever. Like, yeah, Jodi effing Harris. That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, that's something I worked with one of my clients. I was coaching. I said, read this book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. Because
Yes,
the less you can give a fuck and save your fucks for what really matters, the better
yes,
off you will be. And luckily, I'm like a little bit blessed, like naturally. I don't know why I am the way I am, but I don't really care what people think. Like,
that's good.
like I'm me. I'm okay with
See,
it.
and I have the opposite. I have the disease to please.
Ooh,
I call it the disease to please.
yeah,
And I've had it. And this year, I said, I'm gonna get rid of the disease to please. I really want to, which is why on New Year's Eve, we did the whole burning thing, which got us in the newspaper. The local newspaper got me in the local newspaper, because, I wanted to burn everything 2020, everything, calendars, not magazines, but calendars, notebooks, and then business cards. I took business cards. I've saved business cards for years. Well, I went through all the business cards. I matched them up with LinkedIn to see who's still here, who's not here. And then if you were a total like douche to me, I burned you, I threw you in the fire. If you were one of those people who said, "Oh yeah, Jodi, you're the best. Oh yeah, we'll use you," yeah, and a whole year went by and you never used my company or any of my team, I'm like, you know what? In the fire you go. And it felt great.
do you
It
feel
felt
lighter?
great.
Do you feel
I
lighter?
do. I do. And I'm in a situation now, which I can't talk about, but I'm in a situation now with somebody who wants me to apologize to somebody. And I'm like, no, I am not. The old Jodi would have probably apologized, but the new Jodi said, you did me wrong, and I'm not going to apologize.
Mm-hmm.
Done.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
absolutely, it's very good. It's very good to I mean, you got to still, you're a business professional, you have to act in a business way, in a business manner, but you know what, stand up for what you believe in, stand up for your beliefs. Don't let people walk all over you. I find that, so much in this business, we're always worried about what people have to say about us. Well, screw that. Just be you. You
yeah,
said it yourself, authentic. Be authentic,
yeah, absolutely.
because
Yeah,
people want to do business with people they like, know, and trust, right? That's what, if they like you and they like what you post, they're gonna hire you and your team, because they know your team drinks the same Kool-Aid that you do, or else they wouldn't be on your team, right?
yeah, exactly, exactly. And that's why I've been very careful about growing a team. Like the my one DJ that's going to be my right hand girl. Like she was in my wedding. Like we're that
Oh,
tight.
cool.
Like I
Cool.
trust her.
Yes, absolutely. And my team, many of my DJs and people that I've been surrounded with here in the business have been on my team for many years. I mean, since the 90s,
Wow.
since the day we started. So yeah, my rock stars, they're still here. So if I was a terrible person, they wouldn't be here.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
you know what, Michelle, you got to treat people like you want to be treated. It just comes down to that. How do you want to be treated? Treat people the way you want to be treated. If you want to be treated like a jerk, then you treat people like a jerk, but treat people the way you want to be treated. And that's the way I live.
Yeah. I'm curious about LinkedIn. So how long have you like actively been working on your LinkedIn for your business?
Oh, over a year,
Yeah.
definitely over a year before the whole LinkedIn, everybody jumped on the LinkedIn bandwagon. But yes, I've been on it, and I consistently been on it even more now, because when I was in Dallas for MPI, which is Meeting Producers International, I attended a seminar about LinkedIn, and I met a LinkedIn expert, and he was phenomenal. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, so please don't ask me,
Yeah.
but he was great. Gave so many great tips. I asked so many questions. He like, you should be teaching this and not me. And I'm like, sorry.
Yeah, yeah. My own business coach, who I've had for 5 years, she went to one of the big events with the big thought leaders, Gary Vee, Grant Cardone,
Yeah.
all the people, and she goes, Michelle, I really think LinkedIn and TikTok is where you should spend your energy. You know, so I have been on LinkedIn for years. It was just sitting there for years, and I have
Yeah.
gotten more active. I don't know if it's been a year or how long, but like I'm still playing with it. You know, I see
Yeah.
you on there. I found you on there, and
Cool.
definitely think all the platforms, more visibility, be omnipresent, be everywhere. You know.
And we have a different, we reach a different audience on LinkedIn than we do when we market bridal. For me being in Las Vegas and I want to connect with producers and meeting planners, I find that LinkedIn is a little bit more better for me. And I find because of COVID and what's going on in the world, that there are a lot more people now on LinkedIn because so many people are looking for jobs. So if you're not on it now, you better get on it, and it doesn't always have to be about you. You can share articles that you found about weddings. You can find articles on Vegas or whatever city you're from, or something that you feel like, contribute and comment, 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 because that's how people know you. They found, like, look, we found each other.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm curious about, so when you went through all those business cards, because I've been doing a lot of decluttering this last month or so, and I've got a lot
Yeah.
to do, but it feels amazing. So I
Yep.
have all these business cards. And so when you went, what was that process like to take the business cards and then check it out on LinkedIn? So did you search their names or business
Yeah.
or names?
Search their names,
Yeah.
search their names. And then if I couldn't find their names, then I would search the company.
Uh-huh.
And you'd be surprised. I would say probably 90% had LinkedIn profiles of the cards. But if they were no longer working for the company that the business card, had them linked to, then I threw the business card away, and then I connected with them on LinkedIn, and then I wrote them a note. I didn't just go, oh, hey, let's connect. I wrote something like, oh, hi, Michelle. Oh my gosh, I see that you and I have at least 75 common connections. I think we need to be a connection here on LinkedIn too. Love to connect with you. Like something like that is what I wrote. I didn't say, oh, I got your business card, because who knows where I got the card at the time.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's how I cleaned out a lot of my inventory of business cards.
Hmm.
And I'm still like looking around my office now to make sure that I hit them all, that I got them, because now I had the time to do it.
Hmm.
When you're in the middle of wedding season, or you're slamming, you don't have the time to do it. So all these cards sat in a box for months and months and months.
Exactly. Yeah, they're taking up space.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
So you and I
Absolutely.
reconnected in a really fun way recently. We were in a virtual vision board meeting. What would we call it? Workshop. And
Party.
it was a fun time. It was a really great time. And ironically, we both were burning things in the fire, letting go of things. You went a little extra, which I love.
Yes, I certainly did.
Yeah.
I
So
s-
had you had done the burning exercise before, with burning things and letting them go in the fire?
so I have a psychic friend who told me that this is years ago. She told me that I should do that. And I never did it. So this year I decided to take her up on her offer and do it. So I've never done it before. This was the first time.
Yeah, I've done it only twice. One time at like a women's camp, Kundalini camp, where we burned
Yeah.
things, and then I just had done it like a couple days before you and I had connected in that vision boarding party. And so,
Yeah, yeah.
uh,
No, absolutely. It works, so far. We're how many days in? We're a few days into the new year. So far I've been okay with it.
now one of my goals for this year is getting more consistent with daily routines and rituals. Like, and it's a lot of reflecting on what was working and what was not, and what are we letting go of, what are we leaving behind, what are we taking with us into 2021, because almost everyone had a chance to slow down this last year. And hopefully you got some time to reflect and really think about what you want. And now I feel a new um, what is it? A new rush of energy and motivation coming and going. Like it's coming through. It's coming through. I'm feeling hopeful. I've been interviewing different people from around our country and around the world, but around our country, and some of the states didn't really shut down. And
Yes.
I was kind of thinking that most people did shut down, but I wasn't watch. I don't have news. I don't watch TV, so
Sure, sure, sure. No, no, yeah, no. I mean, we're Vegas is we only shut down for a few months, I think 2 months. So like let's call it March, let's call it St. Patrick's Day. So let's say March 17th through June 4th. We opened on June 4th, and how I remember June 4th is because I did the very first party when we bounced back. I had my very first party immediately. So I saw that as a really good sign. I'm into like, karma and good vibes and all that stuff. So when I had my first party on June 4th, I'm like, yes. And then, I stayed consistently busy, but I kind of feel like my team hasn't. My photographers have, and some of when I say my B DJ team, I mean my support team, the guys that go out with me. But some of my rock star DJs have not gone out because there just hasn't been the need yet. We haven't seen that. But Vegas is doing a lot more weddings. Like our wedding numbers, and I might have said this to you, have been flat. When I say flat, I don't mean like, oh, they're low. I mean flat, meaning they haven't gone up from last year and they haven't gone down. When I say my wedding numbers, I mean this, I mean Las Vegas. I mean Las Vegas weddings, not Sight and Sound. I mean Las Vegas. So people are coming to Vegas to get married because Michelle, their states are shut down and they can't do it. And many of them need to get married for insurance purposes. So that's why we're seeing. So the chapels are doing quite well, but the support people like me are struggling a little bit more. And a lot of our hotel partners have realized that there's no convention work going on right now. There's nothing going on convention wise in Vegas, at least not this quarter. We might see stuff they're talking about, March, April, May, that we might see, we'll see some convention stuff. I think the first one comes back in March, and I believe it's the hardware show. So, but what they're doing is they are now offering weddings. And because they're salespeople and they don't know how to do a wedding, they're bringing me or people like me in to coordinate the wedding. So that's been really, really good.
yeah, well, it's great that you have so many different parts to your business and skills and experience that you can really kind of flow into
I
whatever
do.
needed, be that flexibility. So that's wonderful. Do you have any advice to anybody listening that maybe is just starting out?
I would tell them that YouTube is your best friend. Like anything you want to learn, you can learn it on YouTube. If you're looking for a social media expert, if you're looking how to market your business, always be learning. Always be learning. And that's how I learned a lot of my stuff. I've YouTubed everything. So YouTube is really, really good for you. I would also tell you to hang out with people that do what you do, maybe not in your market, but maybe in a different city. That's how you and I connected, through mutual friends in other cities. So find somebody that you kind of admire and try to connect with them that way. But the main thing is no matter how long you've been in it, whether you've been in it, a week or whether you've been in it since 1994 or earlier, you always got to be learning because technologies and things change. And like I said, you know what I missed this year? I missed VidCon. That's a video conference for YouTubers. I love VidCon. I went there 2 years ago and it was so much fun. I was really looking forward to VidCon this year. Try to go to conventions, that pertain to your industry and meet new people
Yeah.
and constantly read. It's so affordable to read now. You can get industry publications and just so much out there right now that wasn't there, back in the early days in the 90s.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. I love that. Is there anything else that you would like to add to share?
No, just like I said, always be learning, take time to, smell the roses. Definitely, if you had time, enjoy the time because if you're going to get busy And that's what I even said to my husband. You know what I said? I said, you know, Pat, we're going to do a New Year's Eve party. So 2021 into 2022, we've always talked about doing a New Year's Eve party where we invite industry friends who might not be working on New Year's Eve to just come over and hang here in the warehouse with us. And we're going to turn it into like a 1980s themed Grown-ups 2, dress up as your favorite 80s character and just do a party because we've always talked about it. So now's the time because, you know, life is short. Like, what's on your bucket list? What do you want to do? You know, what are some of the things you want to do? Just do it. Just go out and do it. You know, don't be afraid. Just do it. What's the worst thing that can happen to you? The absolute worst thing that can happen to you is somebody can say no.
Yeah.
Okay. If you don't ask, you'll never get that answer. So just do it. Just, you know, if it's your dream to start a podcast, start a podcast. If you want to get a tattoo like I did, get a tattoo. But this wasn't a 2020 tattoo. This was a 2019 tattoo.
I love it.
My mom hasn't even seen it yet because I haven't seen her in a year.
I know. Yeah,
Yep. So
like once.
yeah, no, I haven't. So, and that's fine. I'll talk to her all the time.
That's good. Yeah. Well, wonderful. Thank you so much for being on the
Thank
show. And how can we stay connected to you and best support you?
You can follow me on Instagram at Jodi Harris Vegas. Jodi Harris Vegas on Instagram, Sight and Sound events online. If you go to Jodi Harris Vegas, you will find the links because there's a link tree in there and it'll connect you to everything. But it's been an honor and a privilege, and I'm so excited to be here. Thank you, Michelle. So that vision board did work, right? It worked.
I'm continuing to vision. I led a vision call last night. I'm going to keep visioning.
Wow, girl, you must have poster boards like everywhere. Love it.
Forms. The next form is going to be the digital one.
Oh yeah, we were all doing. A lot of us were doing digital, but that's awesome. Well, thank you again for having me on here. And like I said, I'm happy to help anybody who needs help with anything. Just reach out to me. I'm happy to do that.
Well, thank you so much. And thank you everyone for tuning in. Bye for now.
Go to my website to claim your free gift, a digital copy of my best-selling book, How to Start a DJ Business. www.djrundat.com. Follow me on all social media handles, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Twitch at djrundat. Be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel. To learn how you can book me or work with me, go to my website or email me at michelle@djrundat.com.